So just sidetrack a little bit. So I think from the earlier question until this point, right, I think there is a sort of view on the architect's role and a contract administrator's role. And more often than not, we wear both hats in projects. So I'm just going to throw a wild question out there. Do you think that that's the right setup? Or should it be separated?
Honestly, I would say it ought to be separate, honestly. I mean, having sat through that role, wearing both hats, and then essentially then after that being separated, architects, we are very romantic creatures. We want to safeguard our design because we feel that we can save society because our design is such that a great feature to have. But however, what happens, as Stephen just pointed out, you can do all the wonderful fluffy stuff, right? But if you don't write and spec it well, right, it remains a dream. It cannot be executed well, and you may end up actually having to clean up the mess that you created upstream, which is actually quite common. So in order to kind of like circumvent that kind of grief, if you have two different parties that actually administer it, and one can concentrate on the fluff and the other can concentrate on making sure that it's on time, then I think administratively it probably would run better. But however, having said that, if both parties happen to be architects, right, that's a different cat fight altogether.
Or for that matter, if the other party is non-architect, you end up,
Yeah.
And I tend to disagree. Okay, I mean, bringing another party in as a separate contract administrator, I mean, from the contract's point of view, it kind of makes sense. But in reality, I feel that you're actually bringing a potential dispute between the two parties. One more party will come in and you say that, well, architect is your fault, and therefore contractor has a right. You're going to claim VO, but now who's going to pay for the VO, and then you have to account to the client. So, but if kind of you are the designer and you can kind of contract minister, and somewhere down the line mitigate
more room to maneuver
that's
the changes.
Yes. Okay, I'll just share a recent. I mean, unfortunately, I'm also the so-called the claims assessor in my organization, and one thing that I come to one of my directors had asked me to have an independent view of one project that we were running through that kind of problem where we were both architect and contract administrator. Imagine the horror that you discover that, the specs were not quite up to it, the drawings were not quite up to it, So if you look at it very objectively speaking, right, then it's like, done, it's our fault, But the thing about it, if I take Stephen's point, I'm not disagreeing, but I take your point, I would be very inclined to say, okay, how do I get my colleague out of shit, And that's where the lines get very blurred. Then are you, back to your original question, are you being fair or not? You see? But the point about it is that, I think most of us architects, me included, right, would try to deny everything, even we know it's our fault. Because, for the basis to say that let's not focus on the fault, let's focus on getting a solution, you see, right? Because the minute you own up, right, then what happens is that everyone's focused on doing a rugby scrum on you rather than say, let's fix it,